Hello everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Travel with Abby. My name is Abby, if you couldn't tell already, and I am the host of this awesome podcast. So, in the last episode, I gave a very vague overview of Canada, which is where I live. I talked a bit about traveling here and what to do, what to expect, what cities and places you should go and that are more worth seeing than others. But today I decided to focus specifically on one single Canadian city, which I decided to start with Niagara Falls. Niagara Falls is the most popular tourist destination in Canada. Because the falls, they are very popular. And you know what? They're really pretty. I'm not going to lie. And in the wintertime, they freeze. So that is really cool to see. And for Canada Day, they actually light up the falls red and white. So that's really pretty as well. So if you wanted to see the falls lit up, Canada Day is July 1st. And if you want to see the falls frozen, you'd have to come probably around January, February. That's the coldest time, but there is no guarantee they'd freeze because our winters aren't as cold as usual. However, if you do come to Niagara Falls, it is best to come in the summer. And I know usually you want to avoid traveling in the summers because that's busy season. However, a lot of attractions in Niagara Falls are closed throughout the winter. A lot of Clifton Hill is closed. Clifton Hill is I'd like to call it the Las Vegas Strip. Niagara Falls is the Las Vegas of Canada because there's casinos, hotels, fancy restaurants, arcades, roller coasters, and so many different activities. You can do anything there. So you won't get the full experience if you went in the winter. There's a lot of outdoor activities like outdoor mini putt, there's go-karts, there's roller coasters. I even think the Midway is closed, if I remember. There's a few shops and stuff, they just close throughout the winter because it's not really a popular time for tourists to visit. And also, it is really cold in the winter in Canada. We don't get as much snow as we used to. It's really cold consistently. I'm talking negative 20 degrees Celsius. So it can get cold, especially when you're by the water. You get the cold breeze too. So it's bitter cold too. It hurts your face. It's that cold. So if you can avoid wintertime, to avoid crowds as much as possible. I can't talk. I'd say maybe go May and June and September, but otherwise it gets cold. Things start closing down. There's also a couple water parks in Niagara Falls. They are open throughout the winter though. However, because they're indoor, but one of them, it's a rooftop water park. And in the summertime, on nice days, they actually open up the roof and make it an outdoor water park. So if you wanted to experience that, you would have to come in the summer. So our hottest times are July and August. It's usually in the 20 degrees Celsius. Sometimes it reaches the 30s. We have peaked in the 40s before, but that likely won't happen. Maybe July, but not so much August. So expect it to be mid-20s to mid-30s. So it is pretty hot, so make sure you're prepared for that. And if you come to Niagara Falls, there is a boat. It used to be called the Maid of the Mist, which I much prefer than their new name. They're now called the Hornblower. and they're little boats that take you straight right next to the falls, and it is soaking wet. You are right inside the mist from the falls. They do provide you with those plastic rain ponchos, and what's really cool is the Canadian boats all have red ponchos and the American boats have blue ponchos. So on the Canadian side, the side I am talking about, you would be given red ponchos, and I also recommend wearing like rubber boots and like a sweater or something, because you'll get wet and cold. However, it is a really nice refresher or whatever you want to call it. It's refreshing, that's what I'm trying to say, especially on really, really hot days. So maybe sweater won't be necessary on hot days like that, but if it's around like 20 degrees, you might be a little bit chilly inside the mist. And there is one restaurant. It is called the Table Rock, or is it I think it's Table Rock Cafe, and it is right beside the falls. They have giant windows, and you're basically like on top of the falls. It is amazing. However, it is a little bit pricey because you're paying for the views, and the food is really good. You get awesome service. I've eaten there. I loved it. It is kind of out of the main hub, which is Clifton Hill, because it is right by the falls. So highly recommend eating there. Also, the Rainforest Cafe. I absolutely love the Rainforest Cafe. It is another pricey restaurant, but you're paying for the experience. You go in, and it's like you're walking into a rainforest. There's leaves, trees, like fake trees and stuff. They have animatronic animals around, and they're always making noise or moving around and stuff. And then I think it's every half an hour, a thunderstorm starts in there. So the sky goes dark, there's thunder, there's lightning, and all the animals start freaking out. And it's just a really cool experience. And also, the Rainforest Cafe has a gift shop and an arcade attached to it, because they can have long waits. So if you want to eat at like 6 or 6:30, I recommend showing up at 5, because it can be sometimes like half an hour to 45 minutes or longer to just get a table. But once you're in, usually it's not too long of a wait. The service is really, really good. The food is decent. It's good. Nothing wow, no wow factors, but it's good. But again, it's the experience you're paying for. So really, really recommend going to the Rainforest Cafe. And right next to it is the Hard Rock Cafe, which is a bar and restaurant that has live bands playing there, and you can even hear the music just walking down the street. So that is another recommendation. Entertainment-wise, there is the Midway in Clifton Hill. It is a giant arcade, and there's actually 2 rides inside of it. There's a dark shooter ride. You know, like if you've ever been to Disney, it's like Buzz Lightyear's shooter ride. And it's, I forgot what it's called, something like Ghosts or something like that. You're basically going around shooting ghosts and zombies. And then they have another one, which is a 4D ride. So you're just sitting in a seat, and it moves around and everything to the screen that is like taking you on a virtual roller coaster, and it's a lot of fun. So recommend the Midway, huge arcade with rides in there. And for down the street, there is the Wax Museum. So if you go in there, you will find a bunch of celebrities in the form of wax figures, which is really cool. So again, if you like museums, there's that. And there's also the Upside Down House, which is literally an upside down house. And you go inside, and all the furniture is on the ceiling. So it's just something funky to try out. And if you're looking for really good sights, I recommend going on the Sky Wheel, which is a giant Ferris wheel in the heart of Niagara Falls, and you will get beautiful views of the falls from the top of it. So I really recommend it. And there's also the Speedway, which is outdoor go-karts. Again, only open in the summertime, I think from May to September or October. I think October. May to October. That's when it's open. So if you want to go on the Speedway, you do that. And it's fun. I had the prices. I think it was $30 for a 5-minute ride. And with that 5-minute ride, you get to do, I think it's 3 laps. It is a pretty big course. It actually spirals up multiple levels, and then you go back down. So it is fun. You're racing with a bunch of strangers. There's a good 20 to 30 carts on there at a time. So if you like thrill and that kind of stuff, Speedway's good for you. However, if you do plan on doing a lot of activities, I recommend getting the Fun Pass. It's $60 for adults and $30 for kids, and you get to do 6 activities on Clifton Hill. It includes the Sky Wheel. You can do either Wizard's Mini Putt, which is indoor glow-in-the-dark mini putt, or the Dinosaur Mini Putt, which is outdoors, so you could only do that in the summer. It includes the Wax Museum, and the 2 rides at the Midway. I think I got them all. I'm just remembering this off the top of my head. I have gotten the Fun Pass myself a couple times because I live an hour away from Niagara Falls, but I still have gone on day trips and weekend trips there, and I always get the Fun Pass because you get such a good deal. Otherwise, each activity is $30 a person because Niagara Falls has those tourist prices. They can upsell you because tourists are typically willing to spend more money because they're on vacation. So keep that in mind. Everything is overpriced. So be wary of that. But don't be afraid to splurge. There are some good stores there. A lot of gift shops. And there's also a little Beaver Tails shop. I recommend trying that if you're not from Canada. They're not actual beaver tails. It's like a pastry, and you can get any kind of toppings on it. There's chocolate, Smarties, Reese's Pieces, bananas, caramel, whipped cream. You can get pretty much anything. They have a menu online that you can find at Beaver Tails Canada. So if you want a nice sweet treat, you can get that. However, they are filling, so maybe share one with another person. Alright, and hotels. There's a lot of hotels in Niagara Falls. Personally, I would recommend staying at Great Wolf Lodge. It is expensive. If you bring your family, it'll be $300 to $400 a night, but that includes water park passes. They have a huge, beautiful indoor water park, one of the best water parks I've ever been to. So for families, Great Wolf Lodge is perfect, and you can use the water park all day, any day, and you get a really nice room. So, and at the resort, there's restaurants, there's activities, they have shows, everything right there. And then you can spend a few days out in the city as well. And I should also add a side note, if you do venture outside of the city, especially the Niagara on the Lake area, you will find a lot of wineries. So you can go on nice wine tasting tours around the Niagara region, which is loads of fun for adults, not kids. So if you are just going as a couple or a solo traveler, wine tasting tours, you are going to love it. And what was I saying? Oh yeah, hotels. There's a few nice hotels along the falls. You get really nice views. There's the Sheraton, which has a really nice restaurant on the top floor as well with good views. There is the Embassy Suites, which are expensive. You can get whole apartments in there, and they're $800 a night. So if you want to splurge like that, go right ahead. You will get the best views right from your bedroom. And there is the Hilton. The Hilton is right there. There are more budget hotels around too, but they're small. You won't get the best views. But also there is a budget hotel. It is the Skywalk hotel, and it basically has a huge bridge that connects to the Falls View water park, which is the rooftop water park. So you get a room there. Those are like, they're close to $200 a night, so a bit better. And that some of them include the water park pass and some rooms don't include them, so make sure you keep an eye on that. So yeah, if you like water parks, there's Great Wolf Lodge and there's Falls View. But yeah, Great Wolf Lodge is definitely better, but it is more pricey, so keep that in mind. The Falls View water park is fine. It's just, it's not as clean and it's not as big, but you know, it's a water park. It's still loads of fun. And as for casinos go, there are a couple there. So if you like to gamble, you will have a blast in there. They are pretty big. So, I mean, there's not much to say about casinos. However, like, they have good restaurants in there too, and the Falls View Casino is connected to like this big mall. So there's a food court, there's lots of luxurious shops in there, and there's the Avalon Theater in there, and the Avalon Theater shows some really nice shows. There's at Christmas time, they have a beautiful Christmas show. I loved it. They have ice skating, silk, singing, dancing. Like, there's a whole bunch going on there. So if you come at Christmas time, I highly recommend that show. And also throughout the year, they have loads of legends there. They had people from Green Day, Backstreet Boys. I can't even think of all of them at the top of my head. But, you know, legends who used to be famous back in like 80s and 90s and have since gotten old and don't necessarily perform as much. You can go see them for cheap at the Avalon Theater. So, and also if you do gamble in the casinos, sometimes you do win tickets to shows at the Avalon Theater. So yeah, that's my insight. Niagara Falls is a really great vacation spot, but yeah, the only thing is it's busy, so I don't recommend driving there. You'll have a hard time, and also most of the parking lots are paid parking, except hotels. I'm sure your hotel will offer free parking, but there are buses that go around, but also everything's so close together, you'll be able to walk everywhere, so don't be worried about that. There is the Hamilton Airport and the Toronto Airport, so if you're flying in, I recommend going to Toronto. It is a bit farther away, but it connects right to the GO trains, and GO trains go straight into the heart of Niagara Falls, so it's really, really easy. And then if you fly into the Hamilton Airport, you'll just have to find a bus or a cab to take you to the Hamilton GO station, and then you can take the GO train straight to Niagara Falls. And there's also the Buffalo Airport, but that is in the States, so you'll need to find a way to cross the border into Niagara Falls, but that is technically the closest airport, but you do need to cross the border, so keep that in mind when traveling and knowing which airport you're going to. Check ahead of time to see the best routes to get to Niagara Falls. But yeah, I think that's all I can say about Niagara Falls, so I really hope you found this useful. You will definitely enjoy your trip. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. I do have online travel guides that you can find through my website, which is in the description of this podcast. And I have some free ones and I have some really cheap ones. I do have one for Niagara Falls on there, and it shows you all the best hotels and the best restaurants and the things that you really, really have to do, and it shows you how to get around, and it shows you also popular beaches and wineries and everything in the area. So if you're interested in getting a full breakdown, you can find that through my website in my travel shop. So thank you so much for listening. I really hope you enjoyed it, and I hope to find you in the next episode. Have a great day.